It is finally getting to be the time of year where we get to bust out the Trails bike and take it off some sweet jumps down at Apple Creek Trails. But before we do that, we need to give this thing the once over, clean it up, and just make sure everything is good to go, as well as put on some new goodies. Because this bike has been sitting for an entire off season since last year at the Trails, and I want to make sure that everything is good to go. So what are we going to put on this bike today? Well, first things first, we're going to put on these slim RNC 3D pedals. I did an overview video unboxing with these, talking all about them. Aluminum with a miraging steel piece on the spindle, as well as titanium throughout it, and a lot of really cool stuff about them. They are very light, so I'm going to toss these onto the Trails bike to try them out. I'm also going to be putting on a pair of vice grip brakes from Alienation, and the Alienation brake lever. This is a black sample. They are not available yet. We are continuing to develop them and try and make sure that this lever is perfect before it reaches you guys. So stay tuned for more on that. And if it's already been released, make sure you check my channel just in case. So we're going to put on the Alienation brake lever, Alienation brakes, as well as some new pedals, and make sure everything is good to go on this thing. And before we can do that, I need to clean the entire thing up. So let's cue the time lapse. All right, bike is clean. Now let's get to the fun parts. I think we're gonna start with the pedals. So let's go ahead and grab our 6 and hope that these come off easy enough. So when you're putting pedals on, they tighten towards the front of the bike. I always forget this. Hey, that's far away. Get in here. Let's check this out. Please, 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 please. Yes! Man, the hub's just too elite right now. That right there is why you put grease on your pedals. That was super easy to take off. Oh, yes. Got lucky. So we're taking off for now the Alienation foot fetish pedals. These are super comfortable, massive platform plastic pedals with big metal pins in them. I love these pedals. They are so good. I'm excited to keep using those, but for now, I'm gonna put on these RNC 3D pedals that I just realized I forgot to grab the grease. We gotta make sure that these come off as easily as those ones just did. I just like to make sure that the threads are all the way coated. Okay. This is also using a 10mm Allen, which I have to grab out of my bag because nothing else on a BMX bike is 10mm. Give me a second. Oh, it's not a video if I don't throw something. Okay. One on. Boom. Grab the other. Toss some grease on these threads. If you missed my overview video, there is a lot of technology built into these pedals in terms of space age materials, basically. Titanium, miraging steel, and aluminum all in one pedal. Okay, pairing these up nicely with my 2-piece RNC titanium cranks in 22, which actually aren't made anymore. They are all 3-piece, and I believe 24 millimeter. Okay, wipe away the excess grease on both pedals. And we now have new pedals installed. So pairing with this aluminum pedal look, I thought I have a pair of Alienation vice grip brakes sitting around. I might as well toss those on here because I don't have them on here yet, and I should probably be riding these brakes on both of my bikes. So that's what we're gonna put on next. And to do that, we should probably get you a little bit closer. And the first thing that we're gonna do with this is pop the brake pads off so that I can make sure that I remember before when it's easiest to take them off. Those things were on there. And set them aside. And the next thing we do is take off these brakes. Might as well bring it as close as possible, right? So very simple process here, just taking off the old brakes. The whole thing in terms of bolt, brake, spring, everything, including the mount, does come off here. So that all comes together. So I'm going to have to just pull the bolt out of there whenever I'm ready to. We're gonna wait to do that. Take off this side. See, the whole entire assembly here comes out, mount and everything. So realistically here, we need to take off the bolt and the mount. We can set the other part aside. I do recommend, if you're gonna be doing this, you might as well clean off the brake mount, especially being from a trails bike. Clean that brake mount off, and if you want to be really crazy about it, not really that crazy, but just if you really want to be smart with it and make your brakes feel the best they can, once you cleaned off your brake mount, grab a little bit of grease and put it on here so that there is a layer between the two pieces of metal that will be in contact. So it's interesting that the lower side on the Alienation brake is the left side versus the right side on the kink brake that I had on here. Either way, it doesn't matter. We can put this mount into either side and then put the bolt through both to keep everything together, and then put this side onto the bike. Okay, now before we finish tightening that down, I want to get the other side on and set up. So I just need the mount once again and the bolt. We're going to clean up this mount too. No reason not to do this stuff when you're working on your bike and changing things out. No reason not to try and make it the best that it can be. Grab a little bit of grease. Okay. Just a layer there. Now grab our other Alienation vice grip. This goes into the back side. Bolt into the front side, just like that. And go ahead and put it onto the bike. Now, in terms of actually setting up brake spring tension and all of this brake setup process, I have a ton of videos on how to do all of this. So I'm not gonna go crazy in depth. I'm just going to do it here. We're tightening our brake springs now because right now is when the brake arm can move the most that it can. And that's going to allow us to just have a little bit more flexibility in making sure everything is getting set up correctly. I will have links in the description to everything you need for these brake related videos. So there's that. We're not going to set this one up to the cable yet because I need to still get it all the way finished. So same exact process, just with the other side, and making sure that the spring is tightening the correct way. Once again, tons of videos on all of this on my channel. So there's all of that. Those feel awesome. We got to put the pads on now. These Odyssey Ghost pads do have a direction. So wheel spinning forward, I'm going to put the rotating arrow on the correct side. Let's reconnect everything here. And now we have the Alienation vice grip brakes on my Trails bike. Let's move forward. And before we install the Alienation brake lever, I need to make sure that I get my chain cleaned off and new chain lube put on there, because the last thing I want is to be pedaling at the first jump in a line at the trails and have my chain snap. So to prevent that, we make sure the chain is lubed and all good to go. With that, just going to clean off the dirt. Another thing I like to do is get the teeth clean on the sprocket. Dirt will build up in here. I want to make sure it's good to go. Jeez, there's so much dirt and stuff on this chain. Next step, chain lube. I almost just made a really funny segment in the video because I just loosened the whole entire top on the Park Tools CL1 instead of just the applicating end. That hurt. I got my finger on the pin. Oh, look at that. So there is a perfect example of why you want to lube your chain if you like doing crank flips. I always do this step in this process to make sure there's not like too much, but to also work the chain lube into the chain. I may even go another round with this because this bike hasn't been ridden since like November. It's been over 6 months. But just want to make sure that everything's good to go here. And if this is really loud, I'm sorry. I'll time lapse through the rest. All right, I'm obligated to do a double crank flip at the trails today. Chain is lubed, everything is cleaned up. Now we need to move all the way to the front to put on right here. Alienation brake lever. I am so excited about these. Let's go. Here we are at the front of the bike where we are going to be taking off this brake lever right now. Here we go. So I am so excited about the Alienation brake lever. I know a lot of you guys are too, and I'm sorry that it's taking a little while, but we definitely wanted to make sure that it was the best it could possibly be before it ever got released. That was the whole idea. And with this new sample, we have a totally redesigned bearing system in the pivot, which I will be doing a comparison to the old design. If you haven't seen that video already, or it's not out yet, just stay tuned. It will be coming, and I'm so excited because we wanted to just make sure it was perfect. And if we're gonna make the best brakes that you can get, the vice grips, gotta have a lever that's at that standard. So that's where we are with things. And you can watch my first video on these to learn everything about them. But there is a bearing in the pivot setup. It has a hinge and a barrel for adjusting the cable width. And it's going to be coming in front and rear. It's made from 6000 series aluminum, CNC machined, and for any more details, just go check out the other video. So let's go ahead and take this bolt out. I'm so stoked on all of this. To have been able to be a part of something like this as a brake rider is just incredible. Like, I had a lot of ideas for the brakes themselves, but admittedly, I didn't even know where to start when it came to a lever because all I had focused on was doing the brakes. And to have this as the result and have something that looks this damn good, and also just to have been a part of all of it, it's so exciting. So we already have that done. Let's slot our barrel out, put the cable in, and I'm probably gonna have to detach my brakes again just so we can have enough slack. Line everything up here. Where are we at? We are not lined up. That's where we're not at. There. And with that, the lever is now installed. So I can do some dialing in with my brakes back here to make everything perfect, and we'll come right back to here with pulling the brakes once I get all of that done. And they are all set up. Look at that. This lever is just so comfortable where your fingers lie on it, and the pull on it is super smooth. Combine that with the bearings from the brakes themselves. So nice. And this is kind of a first look for you guys at a black version of it. So on that note, there it is. And we can now zoom out real quick. So we've got the lever installed. The new pedals are on here. The vice grip brakes are installed as well. The bike is clean, chain lubed. Everything seems to be good. The only thing that I haven't done yet is pump up the tires. I don't know if you can tell from where you can see right now, but they're pretty low. Both of them are pretty low, and my pump that I normally keep in here is actually upstairs, so I can't do it yet. I will be doing it before I get to ride, and I'm hoping that I do that today. So with that being said, Make sure you check out Alienation and RNC. You can use the code BRANT to save 10% on anything you buy from RNC BMX. Stay tuned for the lever itself and the comparison video, if it's not out already, to the newly designed lever area with the bearings and the pivot area. And if you want to get yourself a pair of the best brakes ever, Alienation vice grips are available at your favorite mail order or your local bike shop, because they probably can get them. Check there first. On that note, I'm excited to go ride some trails, so I'm going to stop talking and go hit the jumps. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.